Hey Harsh,
Hey, hi, Parso.
how are you, man?
So, all good. And I think we have this topic which we discussed last week, and it was very, very interesting, right? And I thought let's kind of deep dive into it and have a short call and see and share our experiences about it, right? And this topic
Wonderful. Yes, yes,
is, and I guess, we have seen this happening, right? Somebody coming to you and saying that, I just can't get agile working. Why it's not working for me? I'm hearing so many things from people that, it's, it works. And then when I tried it, just doesn't work. And then I get frustrated. So let's probably talk about saying that, what are the 5 top things which come to our mind based on our experiences, why, why it's not working? Why are we into going into this place, right? So
certainly, certainly. I think this is a need of our topic because there are so many agitations that okay, for our team, agile is not working. Agile is not for us. Agile is not for our organization. When we deep dive, yes, there are a few uh, similar patterns that we could get from multiple organizations or teams that okay, this is why it is not working for
yeah.
people. Yeah. All
So
right.
let me share the screen. I think we
Yeah.
have consolidated a few areas which we feel are, you know, uh, where is that? Which we feel are more relevant to us.
Yep.
So let's get started from the first slide then.
Absolutely.
Okay. So here are 5 reasons why Agile is not working for you. So let me pass on this baton to you, and then maybe you can let us know what do you think of by this when you look at this.
Yeah. Very very favorite one, right? Recently this has happened. Uh, a person next to my house had bought a fancy bike. Oh, you can even I have to buy that, right? That's a similar thing. And a person next to us is, getting getting a huge salary. I should also get it. We don't see what is the context behind it, but I just go try for that job or just go get that bike. So the same thing happens here, right? Many organizations, they see, okay, agile is a trend. Agile is being used by, the company next door. So I want also to be agile.
Yeah. Hmm.
Do we really know what is agile? That is how I see this point as. What do you think, Harsh?
Yeah, definitely true. And I think then we do some more deep dive into my similar, industry partner, or and then we do that. But I guess we have to probably, this could be one of the biggest pitfall for us. We can look at people, learn from them, interact with them, just don't copy blindly. Is what I would think is a suggestion.
That is true. That is true. Exactly. They should know the, maybe I'm jumping too ahead of, certain things
Hmm.
here, but uh, before picking up, why they're doing what they're doing, like or what they want to do, they should know the context
Yeah.
behind the situation, right?
Yes.
What
Yes.
exactly is the problem that they want to solve? Then go ahead, choose a child. Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah, yeah,
Great.
good.
So I think this is one of the one, and then let's move on to the second one, which I
E-
think yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
So, and which I think is also very very commonly found, and it's probably there was a team who were just together, and they were all starting up with the new project, and the leader came in and said that, hey, I think let's use Scrum because it's it's the best in the market, and from the quality from the first point which comes through. And team is also very really excited that, hey, no, they feel they're going to get empowered, they will be a part of decision making, and so nice. And then the team starts, but what we miss over here is when they start working with it, they started seeing the leadership itself being the impediment, because it's only they are working at a ground level and they are being agile at it in various aspects. But what happens is only a sub part of the whole group is trying that out, and there is nobody who is leading by an example. So one example to tell you was, the squad which I just talked about, they started really doing great. 1 2 weeks happened, and suddenly one after a couple of sprint, they realized that the backlog is not very organized to do that, and then they had to push the product owner to saying that, hey, what, why don't you iteratively build your backlog and you know in prioritize it and all those things. And that's where we found the biggest struggle, to convince our product owner to also work in a similar fashion. Then he has to convince somebody else from where, the way he was talking with the stakeholders, and then convince them saying that I'm going to come to you multiple times to get requirements. So that's a whole chain which has to also align. So I think, we
That
have to
is
go
true.
from I to we, right? Yeah.
Exactly. See, maybe I'll quote a reference from the Scrum guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are very familiar with all all 16 pages of Scrum guide, talking about the artifacts, talking about the events and everything. But we kind of miss the basic thing in the first two lines, what Scrum guide says. That is like, if it has to be functioning, you should not you should not be dependent by your leadership, or you are not dependent on the leadership. That is it. In that context, there is a statement in Scrum guide. So most of us don't see that. We are like behind the velocities and behind the story points within
Mm-hmm.
the team, and it is always there is a torchlight kept from the leader. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
how much story points have we delivered?
Yeah.
Are we not? We are not really looking at, or few teams or few organizations are really not looking at, hey, why is there a less value generated by that particular team? How can I be that servant leader to help the team?
Mm.
Or how can the organizational impediments can remove that? So there is less focus on this piece, and there is only focus on getting the teams more agile without knowing the other external impediments they face.
Yeah.
That's how I want to look at this point.
Sure.
All
I
right.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
wonderful.
lead by example. So
Yeah, lead by
yeah,
examples, right? Lead by examples. Yep.
good.
Good, good.
Let's move on to the next one then, and I'll pass it on to you.
Exactly. So this actually sets a good way from our the earlier point what we discussed, right? It is the alignment of, it is just not the team. It is the supplier, the integrator, whomsoever it is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, here we have a process being, or a process being followed.
Mm-hmm.
On top of it, we have a framework to follow to understand, how can we relentlessly improve. However, when you go back to the contract doesn't say anything about this.
Yes.
There is a big mismatch, right? Then in the contract, this is what my experience have been, right? See, in the contract, we just talk about successfully delivering it. We never say about, hey, what is the next step if we hit a roadblock, or if we get an impediment? How are we going to approach that?
Mm-hmm.
That is not discussed. So that is why whenever there is a roadblock hit or a failure hit, people start blame gaming. God,
Yeah.
hey, it's you, Harsh, it's me, Parshu. It goes like that.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, the main thing we need is alignment.
True.
If you're gonna follow this, say, get alignment from all other stakeholders, all
Yes.
other teams. Hey, this is what we wanted to follow. This is how we need your help to
Yeah.
achieve this.
Yes.
If you're an independent team, if you're doing it, it's all good. If you're a highly dependent team, you cannot just run a marathon.
True.
You need to get alignment. That's my perspective to it. What do you say?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I know it's very difficult because, most of these factors are either your business partner or a vendor where you have some already fixed contract with. And I think, we have to be courageous and smart enough to work around it, because it's imperative that if they don't work, or if we do not align with them, eventually whatever extra we do or however efforts we take are not going to be fruitful. Means we just working into a week on week iteration may not be helpful if you know that the next piece is going to only come after 3 months, and then it just becomes weak. So we just need to have that
Absolutely.
courage.
Yeah. You have to be courageous, as well as, one word for this is alignment.
True.
Alignment across whatever you do is what helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now when we go to the next one, right? Next
Hmm.
one is a very interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
Wow, new framework. I want
Yeah.
you to start about this and
Yeah, I know. You know
from
what?
the
I
side.
think maybe at least in last 3 years or so, I have at least not heard a new framework. But I
Mm.
think a couple of years back, it was like every year there will be like a new framework being launched and devised, and there were so many also customizations to that framework. And then every time a new thing comes, I used to see some of the teams getting, oh, that's a great framework, it actually solves my problem. Because now it is defining that role which I really wanted, or it is really
Exactly.
defining that thing which I wanted to do. And I think then we spend in understanding that framework, realigning ourselves to that. Then we have a nice 1 day outing to kind of just do that, to get together and kick off thing. And what happens after 6 8 months or a year down the lane, we are probably hitting the same roadblocks we had with the previous framework, because
That's
the
true.
underlying has not changed. Sometimes the mindset has not changed. So I guess there are so many examples itself in the market, one being Spotify itself. So, you know, but then I think we should kind of start keeping away from that, what to say, the attraction towards the new words and frameworks. So, I,
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, I don't know you remember this, when we were talking or brainstorming about this, we we thought of one particular framework, right? DevOps in one team, where everything is automated, CI/CD pipeline, everything is cool. They are like best team in the organization in terms of implementing DevOps, but the value delivery is like zero over a period of time, because they always spent on improvising their internal processes over delivering, right? So I would rather stress more on, hey, look at what is the value that you want to deliver to your customers.
yeah,
Based on that, then pick a framework, and you have to differentiate between your process and your framework,
yeah,
right? Your
hmm,
framework, this is my understanding, right? See, a framework would help you unearth or show what are the problems your
true,
processes have, right?
yeah,
And then ideally your team and your leadership team are responsible for solving those
solving it. True,
problems, and then go about it. You pick
true,
up whichever framework. The framework is going to just help in getting the problem transparently out. They are
yeah,
not going to solve. Ultimate solvers are you,
true,
right? So pick a framework that is going to help you in getting the problems out, and you are able to make those right decisions.
yes, and I
It could be a very simple thing as well,
true.
right? You need not have a framework, but still just be agile and try to learn, iteratively, like how things are moving,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, that's my take on it, especially with the plethora of frameworks that are being available. So if you are more framework centric, just framework centric, you are actually not understanding the use of framework, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And you are, yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think we just have to be patient and then try it out completely before running to the another one.
that is
So that's
true.
very true. So actually, and I think the next point is we are going to go is probably the root of it and the summary of it, right? And that's the base of it, saying that the why. So up to you. Let us.
Yes, my I'd say the most favorite one. Rather, we were brainstorming about this flow, right? See, I would have started it first, but if you had seen all these points, right, from 1 to 4, everything what it lacks is the purpose. If you do not understand the purpose of what you want to solve, or what or where you want to be, right, then there is no point just picking up something. It is like, maybe there's the best thing, right? This is the analogy I bring in. um, I don't have any goal, right? I don't know what I have to do. I just go and do a certification in cooking, for example, right? I don't know where do I use it, but I still, just for the sake of doing it, I do it. So now all of this comes back to our first 2-3 points, right? If you do not have a purpose, everything you do is for the sake of doing it. Rather, instead of doing a cooking certification, right, if I had just given a thought, hey, what is the real need that has to be done for me? Spend some time reflecting on myself, then I would have invested the money and time at the right thing, rather than just investing on something.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. Purpose is the most important thing.
Yes.
In agile transformation, right?
Definitely
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, Harsh. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very true. And I think, today's solution should not be tomorrow's problem. So don't start
Exactly.
unless you understand what you're trying to solve. Don't try to take the whole pill of, Scrum if you don't think that the problem is that big. Understand what is going to solve your problem. Start and look back and see that, and it will just reduce the frustrations, and if you reduce your efforts into doing what exactly has to be done. So
Right. Rightly said, right? So that brings into the end of the session. So if we quickly
yes,
wrap up, what are the 5 steps we discussed? See, uh, we'll go from behind, or
don't copy.
where? Yeah.
Yeah, we can start with
So
first. So
we'll
basically
start
don't
with the
copy.
first one. Yes, don't copy. Don't copy.
Lead by
You know,
example.
lead by example. Exactly. Lead by example.
And align.
Align. Right.
And just don't get excited about new things. See and see if something existing can work for you. Just don't jump into
Exactly.
taking a new thing in and then see if that works for you.
And finally, the purpose is the most important thing.
Find the why of why are you doing this, and do that.
Exactly. Fantastic, guys. Thank you very much.
Great. It was a nice
Yeah.
talk, and let's see you again. Have a good day.
Yeah. See you,
Bye.
Harsh. Bye.